Let's go to our SEC Power Rankings as the Vols were where last week, if you can remind our faithful viewers.
They were at number 6 last week.
Seems low to me, but if that's what you tell me, I'll roll with that. So where are the Vols this week, or do you want to start at the bottom and work your way
We'll count
up?
down. We'll show where the Vols are.
See, that's what he does. He teases it. He's a tease. All right, what do we got?
Hookers love to be teased. Okay, sorry.
I don't think they do. But I think they just soon be done, pay for it, feel ashamed to go their way.
All right, so
it's like ripping a band off, I would think. I mean, I don't know.
Any guess who number 14 is? I think it's the most obvious one. Yeah, that stadium construction's really holding them back this year. I mean, they had a potential playoff team if there wasn't that stadium construction going on, I'm sure that's
no question. There's no question. Yeah. South Carolina comes in at 13. They had a potential college football playoff run going on until Shane Beamer took the head coaching job.
I actually dropped them after a win, funny enough, because they beat Jacksonville State by 10. It was a battle of Gamecocks. And they had I wondered why the line was so low. I thought South Carolina would cover, but that's where I should have listened to Vegas. They do something I didn't. So
let me hear the chat board. Where should the Vols be ranked? Because I'm going to go ahead and tell you that the Vols should be the third highest ranked team in Caleb's power rankings. And he's just making a face at me. I can't tell if he's really taken that suggestion or not. So where should the Vols rank? I mean, we got to have Georgia and Alabama above them. I understand that. But why not power 3?
We'll get there. We're still cutting down.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because there's some other changes down below. I dropped Florida to 12 for obvious reasons.
12 on a Billy Napier bullet straight to the bottom of the SEC.
Yep, Billy Napier. You guys got to tune in Tuesday. He will be in our Football IQ segment. And Sam Pittman, who he lost to, would have been in it, but he luckily won. But Sam Pittman, I feel like the Football IQ segment is the Sam Pittman Invitational. But it's
you should be able to be on that segment though and still win. I've seen a lot of coaches do dumb things and win.
I do honorably stupid mentions. Okay, so Florida number 12, Mississippi State number 11. They had a chance to be bowl eligible with the win of Kentucky and just got blown out. They're probably going to finish 5-7 now. Arkansas moving up to number 10 though, because Sam Pittman was lucky enough to find a coach more incompetent than him. Man, I mean, isn't that always great when you can win because of that?
Yes, Sam Pittman needs to do some winning to keep his job, I'm told. Auburn, Kentucky, 9-8.
Yep, Auburn, Hugh Freeze keeps winning ugly, but he keeps winning. Kentucky shocked me. I thought Kentucky was going to have a November collapse with Mark Stoops, but blowing out Mississippi State on the road, I mean, you got to give them some credit for that. And number 7, Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher keeps hitting pars. I mean, he's losing to who he should lose to, and he's beating who he should beat, and it's just that's not what they paid him $10 million to do.
That's actually the worst. Like, if you bottomed out, you could get the money together and pay him. And it kind of felt like it was happening that way with Ed Orgeron. There was so much talent. Didn't they still win 8 or 9 games in his last year?
I think they stumbled to 6 in 2021 because remember they fired him midseason, and it just like messed everything up, and the team was ready to quit on him.
Seems like when they fired him, they still had an opportunity to win 9, but I could be wrong. So, but anyway, LSU at number 6, Missouri at number 5. So Caleb's telling us there's a top 5 matchup out on the incredibly pretentious plains of Missouri.
Yeah, and LSU clearly deserved to be number 6. I could have kept Missouri at number 4. I mean, coming off the bye, the way they played Georgia, it was really difficult for me to. Matter of fact, I think I did raise them up. But it was really difficult for me to move Tennessee ahead of them. But I did it only because of how Tennessee's looked the last 3 weeks, not necessarily how they looked last week. But Missouri put up a fight against Georgia, so I just have to, we have to give them credit. And LSU, I mean, look, y'all got me. Maybe Brian Kelly's not as good as I thought. How do you beat Brian Kelly is a defensive coach, right? He was a defensive coach before anything else, and he's always hired good offensive coordinators. How does he not know about putting a linebacker in spy. Like,
I thought the Chip Kelly system was the offensive system.
The Chip Kelly system. I said Brian Kelly.
Oh, Brian Kelly. Oh, yeah. Well, he's terrible. You were way off base on that.
Well, you were on my side with that. What are you talking about?
I mean, you're on your own dinghy on that one. Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn out in the middle of the ocean. The only people that can see you are those that have had LASIK and cataract surgery from Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn. Enjoy life better when you see better. Go to ccteyes.com. That's ccteyes.com. And at least throw me some sort of curve. I mean, give me something, some surprise at the top of the rankings.
I mean,
Caleb.
I've got a couple. So we're going to start our debate now. I got Tennessee at 4. You have them at 3. I don't see how in any way you can put them ahead of Ole Miss right now. I don't. I mean, Ole Miss marched into Texas A&M and beat them, and Tennessee would not have beaten Texas A&M if that game was in College Station.
The one message on our message board, David, Napier overlooked the details. That never gets old to me because that's all that was said about him. If you'd have been at that SEC Media Days 2021 instead of 2022, you'd have walked away and said,
2022, you mean 2022 instead of 2023.
Right. Oh, yeah, you were at 20. Okay, if you were at 2020, the only thing that everybody said, that Billy Napier, well, he's got them details locked down.
And he has lost like 3 games this year because he overlooked details.
Yeah. I mean, that's the irony of it. If he just wasn't a good coach, that would be one thing. Mead Drinker says Sunbelt Billy. He was great there in Louisiana.
Dave, you make the case for Ole Miss.
Louisiana played last year, by the way.
Oh, it was horrible. Or 2 years ago. Dave, you got to make the case, though, for to be fair, at least Billy Napier was winning at Louisiana. Derek Dooley had a losing record at Louisiana, and Jimmy Haslam was like, that's my guy right there. And so,
City heating and air conditioning, 50 years in East Tennessee. Integrity matters. Don't trust fly-by-night HVAC company to tell you that you need a new unit. So here's what they did for my mom, and they didn't know that it was my mom. But she's like, something's wrong with my heat there. So it's kicking in because it's cold over the weekend for the first time. And they got up there that day and didn't need a whole new unit, just needed the parts. So that's City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. And it's right there in North Knoxville, within 50 miles of Knoxville. They will care for you. So do we got the top 10 locked out, or who we got left?
Oh, well, yeah. We got Tennessee is number 4. You still got to make the case on why Tennessee should be above Ole Miss, because you said they should be number 3. How and what stratosphere has Tennessee played better than Ole Miss this year?
Well, see, okay, mine would be graded off of I wouldn't count as much of a loss against Florida. It sounds like you're doing resume.
I'm not doing resume. I'm doing how they're playing at the moment too. And Ole Miss has done nothing to fall below Tennessee. They just beat Texas A&M on the road. I don't know if this Tennessee team could have done that.
Let me ask you this: if I make a call to Greg Sankey, who, by the way, says thank you for holding him in such high regard. But if I make the call to Greg Sankey and I was like, we need to settle this Caleb and Dave bet. So if you don't mind, can you open up the Georgia Dome and then can you put a couple of teams in there? Tennessee and Ole Miss. That's the 2 teams we'd like to put in there, Greg. And I asked him that, what's the spread?
Right now, I think the spread is Ole Miss by like half a point.
No way. Tennessee would be favored in that game.
I don't think right now they would be. I don't. It's close because of how well Tennessee's played the last 2 weeks. But I'm sorry. I still got to go with Ole Miss. They're 8-1, and their only loss is to Alabama. And they played Alabama as close as Tennessee played Alabama. So sorry, got to go Ole Miss. So number 2, here's my hot takes, Dave, and tell me if you agree with me. Georgia got their best win of the year last weekend by far against Missouri. And I dropped them in my SEC Power Rankings. If Alabama played Georgia on a neutral field right now, I think Alabama would be favored. I don't know what you think, but I think Alabama would be favored over Georgia right now on a neutral field, the way they're playing.
Wait, that's the argument that I just made for Tennessee and LSU, and you said look at their resume.
No, I said Tennessee. I said Ole Miss would be favored over Tennessee. I didn't say look at their resume. I said right now, Tennessee's playing great right now. So is Ole Miss. They're playing equally great.
Rocky Top Tom says Mississippi is, I'm going to put this on the board, is head and shoulders better than us. I'd say 11 points. What?
No, I wouldn't go 10 or 11. I would go Ole Miss would be favored by half a point. Ole Miss would be favored by half a point. They'd be favored by half a
Apex
point.
Apparel Group, design, brand, market your way. Unique products to promote your business with unparalleled customer service. They've done work for me. I've been incredibly pleased. Go to apexapparelgroup.com. apexapparelgroup.com. If that's at the Mercedes-Benz Dome, Tennessee is a 3-point favorite.
No, it's Ole Miss is a half-point favorite. Now, my question, though, Georgia, Alabama. Who would be favored Georgia, Alabama on a neutral field? Am I crazy for having Alabama with one loss ahead of Georgia?
No, you're crazy for the Ole Miss Vols one.
I'm not crazy for the Ole Miss Vols one. Vegas would favor Ole Miss right now. Now, I think Tennessee probably would win, but I don't have any evidence based on how they've played to favor up to this point to favor them right now. So it would be close to a pick'em. And honestly, Dave, here, let me give it to you this way. I think Tennessee Ole Miss might actually be a pick'em on a neutral field. But at that point, if it's a pick'em, you got to go resume because it's the only thing I got to rely on. But
everybody else agrees with me. You had one person that posted first that agreed with you.
Travis also thought Joe Milton was a Heisman contender at the beginning of the year. So,
well, he might have been, but there's so many representations because it's a down year in quarterbacks. I mean, you're down there named Michael
Penix, who is an amazing quarterback.
P.
We'll get to that in a second.
It's like there's no way not to get in trouble with his name. I would be so nervous if I were not on YouTube, to be honest.
Really wish he played for South Carolina. But anyways,
Michael Penix is very good.
Yes, but I would say that I'd have Ole Miss right now ahead of Tennessee. I would also have Alabama ahead of Georgia because the reason I have Alabama ahead of Georgia, by the way, for those questioning, yes, Georgia got a good win, but Alabama's won losses to a top 10 team in non-conference play. Georgia hasn't played one top 10 team this year, period.
By the way, the message board continues to disagree. Joe is the Heisman in my heart. Travis says does he
have a 5-star heart?
He still could be. We're just talking all Tennessee needs. All Tennessee needs is him to throw for 400 yards, 450 yards, 500 yards the remaining 3 games of the season, and he can be an analyst. He can be one of the guys invited to the Heisman. Are you buying that?
I could possibly see it. It could be like a Johnny Manziel style November that he finished strong, but it's not happening.
Yep.